Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of The Surfer's Journey. The two of the most important things that a beginner surfer needs to know is A, what kind of board they need to ride, and secondly, what surfing etiquette is. If you can understand both of these things early on, it's going to make a big difference to your improvement and also your enjoyment in the future. And guys, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe now so you can stay up to date with all of my latest videos and tutorials. And you can also follow The Surfer's Journey on Instagram. But for now, let's get into today's video. Now, potentially the most important thing for a surfer to understand is what surfing etiquette is and how to display it. There are unwritten rules and guidelines for the sport of surfing. Now, obviously no one actually owns the ocean, so no one can claim it. But what we have is a set of rules and guidelines to make sure that there's respect shown to everyone and that fairness is shown. Let's break this down so you guys can understand it. The first of these things not to do is dropping in on another surfer. Now, when a surfer takes off closest to the peak, like me in this example, I have right of way. And to drop in on another surfer is when you take off on a wave that somebody else is already on, like we see here. This is a huge no-no and it's easy to avoid. So how do we know exactly who has right of way? Well, this example makes it clear. Here we see a whole bunch of surfers that want this wave, but the surfer who's closest to the peak, the breaking part of the wave, has priority. One variable to this rule can be who's been waiting the longest, but we'll take a look at this a little bit later on. So just make sure that before you catch that wave, that no one else is on the inside closer to the peak and has been waiting longer than you. If you do this, you've done the right thing. Point number 2 is snaking. Now this is what snaking looks like. See this surfer here? Well, she's been waiting for her wave. It's a right-hander. But snaking is when a surfer paddles on the inside of a surfer to try and get that closest peak position, putting them in that prime position. However, this is no good. That surfer has been waiting the longest and therefore it's their right of way. When a surfer is up and riding on a wave, it's everyone else's responsibility to get out their way. And here we can see a surfer that's done that with ease. However, these situations aren't always that simple. And sometimes you might actually have to paddle towards the breaking part of the wave to get out the way of that surfer. If you don't make any effort, then situations like this can happen and people can get seriously hurt. Let's have a look at another situation. Here we see two surfers, one on a left and one on a right. But who has right of way? Well, the surfer who took off first has right of way, and that other surfer should kick out before they hit each other. Now, as I mentioned earlier, there's another variable. Even though in this example, I have peak position and could have caught this wave, well, that guy there, he's been waiting longer. So therefore, that was his right of way. But because he paddled, that was his wave and he missed it. That means that he then goes to the back of the queue, which then gives me right of way. But as you can see, this surfer chose to drop in on me anyway. Which of course is dropping in. By having awareness of what surfing etiquette is and showing respect to each other out in the water, we can avoid these kind of situations and everyone can have a good time. And on top of those three things, it's important that a surfer has a realistic knowledge of their ability. By having that, you'll be able to surf at an appropriate spot for you. So you're not going to surf somewhere that's too big over rocks or reef, which are going to put you in danger, but then other people in danger having to try and help you if you get into a tricky situation. The second most important thing for a beginner surfer to know is what kind of surfboard they should actually buy. With so many boards on the market, it's easy to get confused and go out and buy the wrong board. So I'm going to make sure that you buy the right board for you. Well, the best surfboard for a beginner surfer or anyone who's learning to surf who wants to get there as fast as they can would have to be a longboard like this. Whether it's a foamy or fiberglass, it doesn't really matter. These kind of boards will give you exactly what you need to make that surfing experience as easy as possible. But let's have a look at why that is. Well, obviously longboards still allow you to learn how to do maneuvers like this, but where they excel is in their wave catching ability. If we have a look at this example, you can see that I've spotted the wave that I wanted, but to get into the best position, I'm going to have to paddle fast to change where I am. And because longboards have a lot of buoyancy, it means that you can generate speed when you're paddling a lot easier. If you're on a board with lower volume, it's going to sink and it makes paddling harder. And as you can see here, I'm up and riding on a wave that hasn't even broken yet. And this is only an 8-foot long longboard. You can go much longer, 9 foot, 10 foot, or even longer than that. And the longer that you go, the wider they're going to be, the thicker they're going to be, and the easier it's going to be to paddle. But paddling's not the only area where the longboards excel. They also excel in their stability. Obviously that helps the paddling, but it helps you when you're up and riding. As you can see here, this board is hardly moving underneath my feet, and that makes it really easy for beginners. If beginners are on a board that's very responsive underfoot, whether it's because it has high rocker, or it's thin, or it doesn't have enough volume for them, that board's going to move under their feet and it's going to be hard to control it when it reacts. But a longboard is stable, and it gives that beginner surfer a stable platform to stand on, which is going to help you while you're still developing your balance and awareness. Now obviously beginner surfers are looking to catch those whitewater broken waves, but as they progress and they want to get out the back and catch unbroken waves, a longboard is still going to allow them to do that, and it's going to allow them to do that with a lot more ease and a higher success rate. As you can see here, I'm able to get into these waves really early, and what that means is that I can be up and riding along the wave before it's even broken, and what that means is the takeoff is going to be a lot easier. If we take off late on a wave, it's generally a lot steeper, which makes it harder, and commonly surfers will nosedive in those early stages. But the longboard allows you to generate that paddling speed to get into the wave early, which makes that takeoff a whole lot easier. Guys, thanks for watching the video today. I hope that now you understand exactly what surfing etiquette is, and you understand what kind of surfboard you should choose as a beginner. Remember to like the video and comment below to let me know what other videos you'd like to see. Thanks guys, catch you in the water. The Surfer's Journey now has a range of apparel available, from beanies to t-shirts to hats and coffee cups. For more information on how you can place your order, email thesurfersjourney@gmail.com.